To be careful for pit vipers or even cobras which lie in the bamboo there when you're crawling through, like even just walking through bamboo tunnels or overhangs. You have to be careful because then the vipers are obviously right at head height. I'll skirt round. Keep looking. Keep looking on the ground, I said. Just as I slipped on the ground. I have to keep looking on the ground for crates as well. I'll just sit there. I not even know they're there until I stand on it. And that'll deliver a whack. Oh, it's gone through a golden orb web. Right. This looks like the attempt at a trail. This is the morning's walk. Yep, there's a fence. I'll meet up with it. This is a nice trail. It actually is part of what used to be, or sometimes is, a bit of a trail up the and around the side of the mountain, eventually ending up at one of the hill tribe villages up there on the top. I'm not going that far because I don't want to encounter dogs. Snakes and that's alright, but not dogs. I'll tell you what, switches off. Can almost see. So we're in Mae Rim in Chiang Mai province. And this morning I thought it was going to be nice and clear, but the drizzle's already started. It's more like a kind of mountain misty drizzle that probably occurs every morning. And I've been directed to a trail that will lead up the side of this mountain up above where we're staying, and be good for birds once the sun gets up, and hopefully some snakes whilst it's still a bit dusk. I have to get the head torch on for that. I really want to see anything. Luckily there's not too much bamboo either side. It's been chopped back because especially the vipers, they like to always be between about 1 metre and 2 metre off the ground, so right in the good striking distance. Cobras of course are on the ground, but they'd slither away or you'd hear them, but crates would just be sitting there. And lovely stuff, really. Cobras could strike if you get near them, especially if they feel cornered. Vipers would be sitting still on a branch, you brush right past it and it'd strike. One of the ground vipers, like the horrible Malayan pit viper, they're curled up, you stand on them or stand near them and get a bite. But crates are not aggressive, luckily, seen as the pacatoxin, which is more toxic than king cobra venom. It's just that they don't carry as much of it, you wouldn't inject as much. It's still a very horrible, slow, painful death. Because with crates, sometimes people don't even know they're being bitten. Bite them in their sleep and everything. And then you go into a coma and you're dead in a couple of days and nobody knows why. But crates will only strike if you get between them and some food that they're stalking, like a frog or something, which is why I'm not staying down in the river bottom. I was going to go out last night near the hut and head up along the little river because I could hear lots of frogs. So there's lots of frogs, there's lots of snakes, but I was kind of advised against it. I would have, but I was just exhausted anyway. And I owned it and did not like the idea either. So here we are on a hillside, walking along a trail, looking for vipers and crates at the moment, until the birds wake up. Alright, I'm going to get the head torch on here. And let's maybe... Aha, it's one of those great ones where the trail goes either that way or that way. I'd say the only way is up. But that's what I mean, a bit of overhanging bamboo like that that's fallen down and been chopped down. You got to kind of look, you duck underneath, and if there's a viper sitting in there, you're struck in the face or the neck. I don't think there's, but there's a nice spiders up there. For another orb spider's web. I don't think they're particularly... There's one here anywhere? Oh, let's show one. They're not particularly bad, the bites of orbs, but they're big spiders. They're a bit scary if you get one on your face. And I'm brushing against a lot of the nests, the webs. It's a lovely trail. I think it's going to come out there into a bit of open space shortly. Hopefully get some views across a bit of valley and across some of the higher levels of trees in the canopies. If I can get a bit high, that'll be good. See the birds in the treetops. Have to get set up. There's apparently nothing in the way of bears or the like in here anymore. Don't think there'll even be any small cats. But as always, got to look out for it's the little things. Duckabs, those horrible centipedes. They'll probably be when I put the when I sit down or stop, I put the bag down or something like that. You keep checking the camera bag when you pick it up in case you've got a very venomous centipede on the back of it. Ants as well. Don't know what that is making the noise there, but I doubt I'll see anything yet. Some lovely big trees. Still a lot of wild, wild trees. Natural trees all around these hills. And lots of teak trees and red mahogany, which is always good. But a lot of the land, I think, further down is sort of being used for agriculture, and then right up on the hills, obviously, right up on the top. I'll not get that high, but way over yonder is where the Hmong hill tribe villages are. And obviously they farm things like cabbages and chrysanthemums, avocados, things like that. When I head out in the mornings, I don't worry too much about weight, as I'll only be away for a few hours. I squeeze everything into my Veo backpack, which is strong and pretty well weather sealed. I shoot with my trusty Nikon D500 with the 200-500 lens mounted on it, a pairing which is seldom separated. The 200-500 is ridiculously underpriced, an absolute bargain, as if Nikon made it that way to entice people into their ecosystem. While it might not be as good as prime lenses for bokeh or low light ability, for £1,200 as opposed to £3,500 for the 500 PF or 10,000 quid for the much larger and heavier f4 500mm, it makes a lot of sense, and it's still remarkably sharp. I also carry a 70-300 and an 18-55mm kit lens, both of which I use on the Nikon D5600, which serves as my vlogging camera and which I keep nabbing back from my daughter after giving it to her last year. Growing up in the northeast of England, I guess I'm a man of all seasons, but I wouldn't say that I'm a man for all seasons. I was never fond of the cold wet weather, the lashing rain and sleet. I always enjoyed being warm inside and looking out at it, but I yearned for the warm weather. I do like the warm rain of Thailand's tropical rainforests. It's so soothing and relaxing, and the sounds and smells are as invigorating and mesmerising to me as the feeling of the rain on your skin. When I'm surrounded by forest up in the mountains or under palm trees on the coast, I could sit for hours on end just watching and listening to the downpours, sitting there listening to the raindrops falling on plants and undergrowth, watching big drops move the leaves and flowers. You can just drift away whilst at the same time remaining alert, switch off and fall into a deep meditative state without ever losing focus or awareness of surroundings. It's a beautiful thing, especially when you're alone and undisturbed by sounds of human activity. You quickly slip into a sense of well-being and mindfulness, a meditative calm where you neither anticipate nor yearn for whatever it is you're searching for, but begin to recognise and accept things for what they are, and, in the words of Ajahn Sumedho, see everything the way it is. Instead of impatiently wishing the rain to be over so that you can get on with it and photograph some wildlife, you begin to truly enjoy the moment and relinquish your cravings to the beauty of the here and now. You look at leaves and wonder when the next raindrop will surprisingly awaken them before your eyes without wishing to hasten up the occurrence. When the moment doesn't come, you don't feel disappointed because you weren't attached to it or expecting anything.
And then the moment does come, and it's awesome, but then it's gone in the same instant. And you remember that everything is ephemeral, and nothing should be grasped at because nothing is permanent. And you begin to look beyond the leaf and the raindrop and apply this thinking to all things, so that when you don't get any good bird shots, you don't feel disappointed. And when life doesn't go the way you would have wanted it to go, you can begin to accept it, even in times of great pain, because you recognize that that's just the way it is.
What I love about being in Thailand is that here I am up on an empty forested mountain. I mean, it's kind of empty of wildlife as well, or I haven't seen much. It's just gone 7 o'clock. And obviously I haven't seen anybody else, I don't expect to. It's absolutely beautiful. It's so quiet, apart from the sounds of birds and the mosquito around my ear. And the rain. Once the sun gets out, yeah, there'll be some birds around to photograph. Just getting out and walking trails like this. It's not a fantastic trail, but I've never seen it before. You know, getting up in the dark and coming up through something like this, not knowing what you're going to see or bump into. Oh, it's fantastic. There's so many places like this in Thailand. There's so many national parks where, of course, it's really full of wildlife, and there are trails set and people camp out there and everything like that. This is not a national park, this is just wandering up through the mountains near the hill tribe areas. Beautiful. Whoa. Here's what I'm rewarded with. Wow. Wow, spiders webs everywhere. Look at these. All the many that I've just walked through. Lots of them here. Wow, look at this. Beautiful. Now this is a vantage point. If I don't fall off the side of the hill. Look at that. Those laughing thrush and racket-tailed drongos are making such a racket in those trees. I'm not getting the tripod out on this steep bank side though. I'm trying to get some shots of the drongos as they fly. You feel those beautiful long rackets out the back. But I keep getting sidetracked by these laughing thrushes. Right. This looks like a good spot, and I'm going to have to make sure I keep a bit more hidden, a bit exposed here. But it means I've got a good range of view right the way across. More than 180 degrees now of sky. And as the mist starts to shift and the sun starts to appear, hopefully we'll get a lot more birds coming up into these trees, between these trees and into the bottom. That's where I saw some drongos and heard some laughing thrushes. when we arrived. And I really hope to see some maroon orioles that a guy down at the resort said he has seen occasionally up in these trees. Rather, he described them, he wasn't sure what they were called. That would be great. So, it's a racket-tailed drongo's just arrived there, making the squeaking noises and the zipping sounds. It's flown into there in the kind of the top canopy. Hopefully it will come out this side. There was what looked like some kind of tree pie, probably a green tree pie, was in that area before. Just saw it move from branch to branch. A terrible backlit silhouetted shot, just enough to see the long tail. But it's still in there somewhere. They sit tight for a long time, the tree pies. Don't move. Pretty hard to get. But these drongos sit around for a while and make a zipping sound and a squeak. Fly to another tree branch and then usually fly off quite high in the sky, so you see the racket streaming behind them. Okay, let's see. Hopefully things will liven up a bit now. Flown over there. There's about 5 of them. Quite stockily built. If I'd seen a crest, I would have guessed they were black buzzards by the fact that there was a few of them who were flying. They're circling round above there. Right, let's have a look. You can see them into the top of the canopy, right there in the high canopy, and they were circling round, making a pew sound. I think they looked like, I've got a terrible shot because it was terribly silhouetted. I clicked up the exposure compensation, managed to get a few of them flying over there. I'll have another look. But to me they look like black buzzards, the shape of them, and the sort of small hooky little beak. And black buzzards are nearly always in groups, in flocks. They'll be migrating. Hopefully I'll see them again, get a better shot.
Unfortunately, the buzzards didn't come back, nor did I manage to get a shot of the racket-tailed drongos, the tree pie, or even the laughing thrushes. But sadly, they weren't the only things that I wasn't going to see again. As I patiently stood there, looking out at the trees and the unfamiliar valley beyond, on the other side of the world, my mother was nearing the end of her time here, and just over a week later, she would leave us. Sadly, I was unable to get back to England to see my mum again before she passed away. But 6 weeks after saying goodbye to my mum for the last time, and less than 1 hour after seeing this stunning sunrise over one of her favourite rivers, the Mekong, I finally managed to get some beautiful photographs of laughing thrushes.